Yo, what's up, guys? The Toronto Raptors are in big trouble, guys. Raptors lose again tonight, losing to the New Orleans Pelicans 120 to 111, guys. This Raptors team, they've been playing some good ball all year, guys, but now, this time of year, we're into March, things are getting tighter for NBA playoff positions, and the Toronto Raptors, unfortunately, are starting to spiral, guys. The Raptors have lost six of their last eight. We obviously know the Raptors and their struggles with top 10 NBA teams, but these games here against the New Orleans Pelicans, teams below 500, the Raptors have done their business against them, have won 12 straight games against teams below 500. That is snapped tonight, losing this game to the New Orleans Pelicans. So I've been playing some good basketball as of late. After tonight's game, I've won 7 of 11, getting that jackass DeJounte Murray back from a torn Achilles, of course, just in time to play. The Raptors has been back for the last couple weeks on the minutes restrictions. Absolutely torched the Raptors tonight. But other than that, though, guys, there are more worrying concerns regarding this Toronto Raptors team than that dumbass DeJounte Murray, of course. This Raptors team again fails to make shots behind the arc, turning the ball over at the worst times, making the wrong decisions at the wrong time. This team here just has mental lapses. Defensively, have mental lapses. Offensively, also have lulls offensively, going like 3 minutes without a basket at one point at certain quarters. It's just really tiresome to say the least. The Raptors are out of the top 6 in the NBA for like the first time since November 11th. They were third in the East only 6 weeks ago. Now we're 7th in the East, guys, in a play-in spot. Orlando and Miami have surpassed the Raptors. The Raptors, losing this game time with Orlando beating Cleveland, are now in 7th place in a play-in position, against the Charlotte Hornets as well, ironically enough. Some scary situations with this basketball team as of late, guys. Just another worrying game to say the least. Now, once again, you got Brandon Ingram, returning to New Orleans, played there for 6 years, had an okay game today, but unfortunately, the Raptors once again just have too many times in this game where you say to yourself, my God, this team is just so predictable, so obvious what they're going to do. And you saw it again tonight in this game, guys. The first half wasn't bad. You kept it tight, down by 2 at halftime. Raptors did some good things defensively. We're able to get on the fast break, really do some good things on the fast break against the Pelicans, scoring 18 fast break points to their 2, did some good things there. But, the Pelicans were able to drive the lane, kick it out for some threes. Trey Murphy had a solid half as well. DeJounte Murray had a decent half as well. You had Murphy with 16 on 5 of 6 shooting. You had Murray with 11 points and 4 rebounds, and like I said, B.I. was pretty solid, having 15 points. Not the best first quarter by him, but a way better second quarter, I felt, having 15 points on 5 of 10 shooting, having 3 steals as well, and 3 rebounds. Quickly also had a strong first half with 16 points on 5 of 6 shooting, but he drives me nuts, Emmanuel Quickly, with these transition 3-pointers of his. They drive me absolutely ballistic. The Raptors are on like a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2, and this man pulls up for 3-pointers. He's done it all bloody year. Kills the Raptors sometimes offensively because he misses them a lot of the times. And it really hurts the Raptors with their possessions. He did that quite a few times tonight, especially in the second half. Missed quite a few of them, and that really hurt the Raptors, if you ask me, offensively, guys, in this game here. Him and Quickly and Ingram were the only 2 guys in double figures at half. Scotty had 9 points in the first half of 4 of 7 shooting. And then that was it for Scotty Barnes offensively in this game for the Toronto Raptors. Finishing off the game with 9 points. I think it was on 4 of 14 shooting. Yep, for Scotty Barnes, 4 of 14 shooting tonight. Some serious questions need to be had in regards to Scotty Barnes, guys. This is, his 8th game and his last 9 where he's at less than 20 points. This is extremely concerning, if you ask me, guys. And then speaking of Scotty, he's supposed to be a leader of this team. We saw what happened with Jamal Shead at the end of the fourth quarter there with that jackass DeJounte Murray. I'm going to repeat it again, getting in his face after, he scored a shot there, and it's like, it's very inexcusable, if you ask me, of DeJounte Murray to get in Jamal Shead's face there. The guy's only been in the league 2 years. There's absolutely no need to get in Jamal Shead's face. Like DeJounte Murray acts like a tough guy, with the second-year player out of the NBA, out of college, But is he a tough guy that when his bitch is out there in the clubs grinding up on other motherfuckers? Last time I double-checked, he ain't so tough with those guys, eh? But he wants to have tough with a guy like Jamal Shet. Jackass DeJounte Murray. Freaking dickhead. That pissed me off. I'm going to be honest with you. And guys like Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram should be standing up for him. I don't care if B.I. is going up against his former team. This is your team now, brother. You got to defend your teammate there in Jamal Shet, a guy that everyone treats like a little brother, and he's doing that shit. No, unacceptable to me if you ask me. He needs to stand up for his teammate there. Inexcusable by DeJounte Murray to do that nonsense, And the Raptors, I hope this ignites them a little bit. Because that really pissed me off. This team here, honestly, have been getting their asses handed to them, especially in the fourth quarter here, and in the last few games. It's really starting to annoy me how this Raptor team operates, honestly. Very predictable on offense, like I mentioned. Having lows on offense, like I said. It's the same old bullshit time in and time out again with this Raptors team. Giving up too many possessions, turning the ball over too many times. It's extremely inexcusable to me how this Raptor team has been playing as of late. They are in serious trouble of missing the playoffs here if they continue this. In a playing against a Charlotte Hornets team that has given you trouble this year, that's extremely worrying to say the least. And then, Brandon Ingram finishes off with 22, quickly finishes off with 25. These guys here were the only two guys who had 20 points. RJ had 16. There goes his streak. Of having 20-plus points, but he wasn't great tonight on 5 of 13 shooting. The whole team wasn't great tonight in general. You get guys like Grady Dick playing only 7 minutes tonight. Jameson Battle played 10. He made a three-pointer and never saw the basketball again. I don't understand this shit. Jamal didn't have a great game. He had only 9 points tonight, guys, on 3 of 7 shooting. Mamu didn't have a great game either. Just the three-pointers alone killed this Raptors team tonight, guys. Just absolutely killed them tonight. 14 of 44 from three-point land tonight, guys. 32% from three. Honestly, it drives me nuts watching how this Raptors team plays the way they do. Honestly, missing so many open threes tonight. They were like 39% from open threes. Like, that's inexcusable. Like, you cannot be missing that many three-pointers, honestly, and then 42% from field goal range, guys. That's not good at all. Field goal, percentage-wise, it's not good at all. Getting out-rebounded 62-48, guys. New Orleans shot 48% from three, 50% from the field. Raptors and them shot 75% from free throws. That's obviously not the best. We had 13 steals to their 10, but the Pelicans were able to take advantage on our turnovers tonight. 17 points on turnovers. We did get 24 points on turnovers. They did have 46 points in the paint compared to our 42. But, guys, unfortunately, the Raptors turned the ball over 11 times tonight, and the Pelicans were able to take advantage on some occasions. So were we, but at the end of the day, guys, the Pelicans were able to make more shots, get more stops on defense. Raptors went flat on offense again. It's the same old stuff again, guys, honestly. It's the same old nonsense with this Raptors team. Their season is about to implode on them if they don't wake the hell up. I think they need a players-only meeting, something of that magnitude to shake what the hell gets this team mentally, because they just have too many lapses. It's like anytime they play a better team, or when adversity hits them in the face, they just cower down and, just let other teams, just bully them and do what they do to them. Like what I saw Murray do to Shet tonight. That shit cannot bloody happen. I see the same shit with the hockey team in this bloody city when their leaders don't stand up for their teammates. And now I got to see with the Raptors? That's enough. Honestly, that's enough. I'm tired of this bullshit. We need to start getting some tough guys in this team. Some guys with some tough mentality, some tough attitude, and not allow that shit happening anymore. I want to see something like I see with the Pistons. When their teammates, get screwed around with, nobody allows them to get touched. Like a guy like Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren, shit like that. Guys like that. Guys who will stand up for themselves and knock a guy's head off if they see their teammates get hit to the floor, get yelled at in their face like I saw tonight with Murray. That shit can't happen anymore. This Raptors team here needs to look themselves in the mirror and say to themselves, are we really a good basketball team or not? Because the way they're playing right now, they're not showing it. They have shown it this season that they can be a good team. They've done their job against the small teams, but tonight they couldn't do it. Everything is really starting to implode on them now. Teams are getting ahead of them. Their record hasn't been good as of late. Things are getting really tight really quickly for this Raptors team, guys. They really need to start looking themselves in the mirror. So does Coach Darko. So do these guys in general. It's just hasn't been good enough, to say the least, guys. This Raptors team is in serious free fall right now. They need to start playing some better basketball, athletes. Stop being so predictable. Start making your bloody shots. Tighten up defensively when you need to. And stop letting these other teams go on runs and stop being flat on offense. It's just really, really tired, guys, of seeing this shit with the Raptors. You know, you got guys on the Pelicans. Murray finishes off with 27. You know, Murphy finishes off with 28. Jones finishes off with 16. Zion finishes off with 19. He didn't even have that big of a game tonight, Zion. And the Pelicans do what they did tonight, guys. You know, just an inexcusable loss tonight for the Raptors, guys. You know, you cannot be losing these games. The teams like the New Orleans Pelicans that are like 20 games below 500, even though they've been on a good run as of late, you cannot be losing these games to these teams. If you want to be anything in the NBA, guys, you know, especially a playoff team, you have to win these games. And tonight, the Raptors just failed in this matter tonight, but it's getting super, super tight now with these other teams getting better. Cleveland, Miami's playing really well right now, especially with the Adebayo 83-point game yesterday. They're going to play even better now. At least Charlotte and Atlanta are playing some good ball, at least, even though Cleveland lost to Orlando tonight. Both those teams are playing some good ball as of late. Boston's got Tatum back. Obviously, the Knicks are the Knicks. Detroit is Detroit. Things are looking really bleak now for the Raptors, guys. This team might not even make the playoffs. They might get eliminated in the play-in as the way they're playing right now, because I do not trust this team in a one-off against the Charlotte Hornets right now. I just don't right now. Things have looked really bleak with this team. Their leaders have not stepped up when needed to most. The bench hasn't stepped up, you know, to cover for some of the shortcomings of the offense from the starters. It's not good enough, guys, right now. Things are looking really bleak for the Raptors. We'll love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on the status of this Raptors team currently right now, guys. It does not look good for this Raptors team, guys. You know, their record continues to not look good, you know, as of late, guys. You know, and honestly, if they don't start playing some better ball as of late, this season might end up becoming a failure. And then we're going to look at Bobby Webster for not doing anything at the trade deadline and other reasons, you know, and it's going to be a very, very frustrating end to the season, guys, if this team doesn't pick it up sooner rather than later, guys. But the Raptors are now out of the top 6 in the East, guys, in a play-in spot now. Haven't looked good as of late, guys. You know, we're just 3rd in the East 6 weeks ago. And here we are, guys, March 11th. Now we're in 7th. When we were November 11th, we were in 3rd, guys. You know, it's insane to me. Or top 5 in the East. It's really insane to me, guys, to see where this Raptors team is now. But I'm not surprised, because this team here has shown a lot of signs that they have struggled a lot against the better teams in the NBA. And when the playoffs come around, those are the 16 best teams in the NBA, guys. And we all know that the Raptors cannot be playing like this in a playoff series. So we'll have your thoughts and opinions on this game tonight, guys. Like this video, subscribe if you guys want to see more content. Go Raptors, go as always, guys. See you guys on the next episode of Raptors Unfiltered. Ciao, guys.